The birth of China's first imperial dynasty, Shangyang's ruthless revolution. Imagine ancient China, not as a unified empire, but as a brutal battleground. 7 powerful kingdoms locked in endless war. Think Game of Thrones, but real. Resources were scarce, armies clashed constantly, and survival meant being stronger, faster, and smarter than your rivals. In this dangerous arena, one state was considered a backwater, a joke, Qin, tucked away in the rugged west. But Qin had a secret weapon. A man with a radical plan to turn everything upside down. His name was Shangyang, and his revolution didn't just change Qin, it birthed China's first true empire. Buckle up, Chapter 1. The Crucible of Chaos, Why Qin Needed a Miracle. Picture China around 360 BC. It's called the Warring States period for good reason. Constant fighting drained treasuries and lives. The old ways weren't working. Society was rigidly divided. A small aristocracy held all the land, power, and military rank, often just by birthright. Peasants struggled, soldiers fought without much personal incentive, and rulers were trapped by tradition. Qin was the underdog. Its lands were tough, its people seen as crude by the eastern states. It lacked the wealth of Qi or the cultural prestige of Chu. Rulers knew Qin was vulnerable, ripe for conquest. Something drastic had to be done. Enter Duke Xiao of Qin. Desperate for survival, he issued a call across the warring states, "Bring me bold ideas. Bring me change." He was willing to listen to anyone, even outsiders with radical schemes. And that's when Shangyang arrived, a sharp legalist scholar from another state, carrying a blueprint for total transformation. He promised Duke Xiao one thing: absolute power through absolute control. But could an outsider really be trusted? And were the people of Qin ready to shatter centuries of tradition? Shangyang wasn't just asking for change, he demanded a revolution. Chapter 2. The Blueprint of Power, Shangyang's Shock Therapy. Shangyang wasn't interested in gentle reforms. He proposed the Book of Lord Shang, a set of brutal, brilliant, and utterly ruthless laws designed for one purpose: make Qin strong, fast. Why such extreme measures? Shangyang saw the problem clearly: loyalty was divided. People felt stronger ties to their noble lords or families than to the state. Resources were wasted supporting a lazy aristocracy. Bravery in battle went unrewarded for commoners. The state was weak. His solution: smash the old system and build a new one where only the state mattered. The revolution begins. First, land and labor, the productivity engine. Shangyang smashed the old nobility's land holdings. Land was given directly to peasant families. But here's the catch and the genius: taxes were based purely on agricultural output. Grow more food, pay the same tax. Grow less, pay more. Overnight, laziness became expensive. Peasants scrambled to clear land, innovate, and produce like never before. Food surplus exploded, the fuel for Qin's war machine. Imagine the shock. Suddenly, your wealth depended entirely on your own sweat, not your grandfather's name. Second, the meritocracy machine, rewards and punishments. This is Shangyang's masterstroke, his ultimate cheat code. He created a system of 20 military ranks. How did you climb this ladder? One way only: bring the enemy the heads of their slain soldiers in battle. One head equals one rank up. Brutal? Absolutely. Effective? Unbelievably so. A peasant soldier could rise to nobility through sheer battlefield courage and carnage. Conversely, anyone, noble or commoner, who failed their duty faced harsh, standardized punishments. No more noble immunity. The law applied equally. Talk about motivation. Imagine being a poor farmer's son, knowing that bravery could make you a lord. The Qin army became fearless, relentless, and hungry for promotion. Third, spying and control. The Iron Fist. Shanyang knew laws were useless without enforcement. He instituted a terrifying system of mutual responsibility. Families were grouped. If one member committed a crime, the whole group was punished. Neighbors were forced to spy and report on each other. Trust evaporated, replaced by fear of the state's ever-watchful eye. Dissent was crushed instantly. Conformity wasn't just encouraged, it was enforced for survival. But could people really believe the state would keep its promises? Shanyang faced deep skepticism. His solution? A legendary PR stunt. He had a large, heavy wooden pole erected in the capital's market square. He announced, "Move this pole from the south gate to the north gate, and I will pay you 10 ounces of gold." People laughed. It was too simple, too good to be true. No one moved. Shanyang doubled the offer, 50 ounces of gold. Finally, one bewildered man took the bait, dragged the pole across town. And Shanyang paid him on the spot. The message was thunderous: when the state promises something, we deliver. Trust the system. That's the moment the revolution truly ignited. People saw the rules had changed, and rewards were real. The transformation was brutal, often cruel. But the results were undeniable. Qin began to hum with terrifying efficiency. Yet, was this power built on sand? Could it last? And what happens to the man who created such a ruthless machine? Chapter 3. The Phoenix Rises, from Backwater to Empire Builder. Shanyang's revolution worked with terrifying speed. Within a generation. First, Qin became an economic juggernaut, farm output soared, filling state granaries. Wealth flooded the treasury. Second, Qin's army became the stuff of nightmares. Motivated by the promise of rank and terrified of punishment, Qin soldiers fought with unmatched ferocity and discipline. Victories piled up. Third, centralized power. The old nobility was broken. All power flowed directly to the Duke and later, King of Qin. The state bureaucracy, staff based on merit, often military, ran everything. Qin went from laughingstock to superpower. Neighboring states watched in horror as the Western barbarians grew unstoppable. The ultimate prize and Shanyang's fate. Decades after Shanyang, Qin's power, built on his ruthless systems, culminated under King Yingzhen. Using the formidable army, wealth, and administrative machine Shanyang created, he achieved the impossible. He conquered all rival states by 221 BC. He declared himself Qin Shi Huang, China's first emperor, founding the Qin Dynasty, China's first centralized, bureaucratic, imperial state. The underdog, powered by Shanyang's revolution, had swallowed the competition, but Shanyang, the architect of this power, paid a heavy price. When his patron, Duke Xiao, died, the old nobility Shanyang had crushed took revenge. He was hunted down and executed in a gruesome manner, torn apart by chariots. The system he built thrived, the man himself was destroyed by it. A stark reminder of the revolution's brutality. The legacy. The template for empire, Shanyang's ideas became the DNA of Imperial China for the next 2,000 years. Think about it. First, meritocracy of a kind. The idea that state service, civil or military, could elevate your status, though never as purely as Shanyang's military ranks. Second, centralized bureaucracy. A powerful, standardized administration running the empire from the capital. Third, standardized laws. A single legal code applied across the realm, though rarely as harshly as under Shanyang. Fourth, agricultural focus. Recognizing farming as the bedrock of state power and stability. 5. State control, the principle that the state's interests superseded all others, family, local lords, individual desires. Why this still matters today. Xiangyang's story is a masterclass in organizational transformation under extreme pressure. It shows the explosive power of, first, radical meritocracy. Rewarding measurable results breaks stagnation. Second, clear incentives and consequences. People respond powerfully to direct rewards and unavoidable punishments. Third, centralized systems. Efficiency and focused power can achieve incredible goals quickly. Fourth, the double-edged sword. Unchecked power and ruthless methods create immense force but often sow the seeds of their own backlash or human cost. Xiangyang gave Qin the ultimate unfair advantage, but the cost was immense suffering and his own life. So, the next time you hear about China's long history, remember the ruthless visionary from the East, Xiangyang. His brutal, brilliant revolution in the backwater state of Qin didn't just win battles, it forged the very blueprint for imperial power, turning an underdog into the force that unified a fractured land and birthed an empire. It's a story of desperate gambles, shocking rewards, terrifying control, and the high price of ultimate power. It makes you wonder, what would you do to survive in a world of constant war? Would you trust the man offering gold for moving a pole? Thanks for joining this journey into the birth of Imperial China. What other revolutionary moments in history fascinate you? Let us know. Until next time.